All right, welcome to 10 Tech Entrepreneurs Nebraska. I'm Shonna Dorsey with the Nebraska Tech Collaborative powered by Exarban, here with my guest,
Paul Jarrett.
Paul Jarrett. So I always want to say co-host because I'm just used to having someone else
I'll be your
here.
co-host today. I got you, Shonna.
But anyway, great to have you here.
Great Thanks for having me.
Of course. And you all know it's a 10-minute thing. No edits or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
I'm the worst person for this, by the way.
We're going to see. We're going to just cut you off.
Let's take
15. But anyway, tell us about yourself, Paul, and how you got to Bulu, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I've given that speech so much.
Great.
It's like so burnt out.
You want to say something, share something different?
I just feel like, it's like, hey, I'm just like every other human.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy most entrepreneurs, I believe, just enjoy solving problems like you, Shonna. And I just happened to stick with it a little bit longer. And we started the company. My co-founder, who happens to be my wife, however you need to say that in 2023. I'm so fortunate to work with her and be part of her life. It's great. So, but we started about 10 years ago and we raised capital, and we originally had a subscription box called Bulu Box. And that was one of the first things we did. And it was great. And then we built a little software called Bulu Marketplace that was acquired. And then we started building subscription boxes for really big brands, global brands. Pandemic hit, things just totally went upside down all around, like not even a bad upside down, just people needed stuff in their mailboxes. And in the process of that, there was a lot of changing of things. It's not in 10 minutes we can go through it all, but to come out really, and I ran into you recently, and I was like, hey, we're doing something really interesting now, and we're able to, with this like warehouse software combination, we're helping a lot of entrepreneurs get things in different sales channels and delivered, and that really ultimately is. I believe the journey is all the problems we experience trying to just deliver products the way the entrepreneur intended. Now we can help people do that. But there's so much cliche in this story. I'm still trying to find the interesting parts, but I have to almost hear them back to me because.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I heard was that over 10 years, you've taken this company. You just continue to evolve it, and not say, you know what, we're a subscription box model and that is it. You're like, what do the customers actually need, right?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Fair?
We learned that it wasn't just subscription and subscription boxes. The actual problem is the vision of these entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs, whatever you want to call them, the vision of the people that are building things are dictated so much by Amazon and Shopify and Walmart. And so we're kind of this in between where we can actually help deliver it in the place, in the package, the way, and then to actually have the data and logistics sync up, that is like art, And so, it's cool to be able to almost in a manner, give that thing that we didn't know that we needed 10 years ago. And you always think, you solve the problem. And this is kind of the third rebirth of the brand almost, right? And I'm like, I think this is it. I think, I enjoy talking to entrepreneurs. We all do. And who doesn't like to watch somebody go from 0 to 100 and be part of that journey? And, it's not just getting a package somewhere. It's like, we can help coach a little bit along the way and avoid every mistake, because we've made every mistake.
Right.
So and just avoid those pitfalls a little bit. It's pretty cool. It's actually fun. Yeah.
Right. And it takes a while for it to become fun. I know that for a fact.
Right? And it won't be in the future at points, it's and now, it's like, oh, this is not about anything more for us than how do you react when horrible, awful things happen?
Yep.
What's that part? And, it's okay to say stop. It's okay to quit. But what happens if you just do the right thing and keep going?
Yep.
And that's when some interesting stuff happens, I think. No matter what, just do the right thing and push forward. So, yeah.
I like it. And I think you and I are about the same age. We won't talk about that. I don't care about
I'm 42.
Okay. I'm a little bit older than you are, but
you're younger.
I'll say that.
You look decades younger than me.
Thank you. But I'll say this. I think part of it too is being a younger founder. So I was I'm going to just say for myself, pretty immature and just didn't know what I didn't know. And just, all the qualities that come along with it,
still Yeah.
But I'm sure some of that has helped too with you enjoying the journey a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, God.
No, that's all.
I feel like there's, as an entrepreneur, like that, what is that more than solving problems that involves creativity? What spurs creativity? It's almost like a childlike thought process or innocence, but also you need to know how to, display that correctly to not scare, the numbers people in the boardroom or like whatever. And I think that is like, how do you not lose yourself in KPIs and metrics? Because that feels good, but like, where does that all come from? It's kind of like innocent thinking in a way to like solve the problems. Like, what's the easiest way to solve this thing? Occam's razor is so many times like the simplest answer is the best answer, but it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. But I do think there's a level of innocence that's required to really solve hard problems. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm going to bounce around a little bit. So you mentioned that we chatted recently about some changes.
So good to see you, by the way.
Good to see you too.
Yeah.
But what's the big news?
Yeah. Well, the big news. Yeah. Well, let's see. I got to sit. I was practicing on the car ride up here. How I can say this. Well, we are very excited. My co-founder, Stephanie Jarrett and I, to not announce, but we recently acquired the business 100%.
Yeah.
And that is not an announcement. That is just what happened.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty wild to go. It's like a new little weird stress of like, oh no, this is like all ours. And this is, you're spending your dollar that could go to your kid's new pair of shoes.
Sure.
Right? And you're like, oh, this is so, it's like super exciting. And it feels like there's a level of fun, like a whole lot of fun. And that is something that her and I operate the best in. We say like, I'm curious and she is fun. And when you put that like strategy and competitive nature together that we both also have, it's a cool, like it's easy to get the momentum going.
Yeah.
And so,
awesome.
So 100% ours, and we're doing the things that we really want to do, but not that our partners weren't letting us in the past. It's just easier to just look at each other and go.
Sure.
Right? Yeah.
That's great. So when you founded Bulu, were you guys bootstrapped and then you sought investment, or how did that?
No, we raised over $1 million before, really we had much to show at all. And, thank God people believed in us. And it's just, I think like most startups and a lot of companies in general, like had the pandemic never hit, it'd be a very different story, but that's life happens, right? Happens. Yeah. I feel like the need to tell a lot of entrepreneurs, like and people like, don't worry, everybody's still coming out of the muck.
Yeah.
I see you. We're there. It took us up until like a month ago to kind of like just truly start shaking it off. And I feel like nobody's talking about that enough.
Right. Yeah. And, it's one of those things too, where it's like, okay, it's behind us. Like the official, I don't really know anyway. I don't watch the news very much, which I should watch more. But as far as that goes, we're like, okay, it's behind, the actual pandemic itself is behind us. But like you said, many of us still dealing with the effects of that.
Yeah. I feel like, there was this, ontological shock? There was this thing where everybody's identity was yanked out of from underneath them. And it's one thing if you quit, it's one thing if you stop, but it's another thing if an external force just takes that from you.
Right.
And, I've heard that, if you're let go from a position that you love, it's a very similar feeling. And so I think a lot of people, I know I was sorting that out, and a lot of people are along with me, and nobody had time to talk about it. You know? So hopefully it spurs a little bit of conversation of like, it's okay. Like, I feel like at the party we were bumping into people and I'm like, what have you been up to? And everybody was like, oh, I'm just kind of getting back into the swing of things,
No, for sure. 30 seconds left. I knew that this would go fast with you. But one thing I wanted to bring up, a long time ago, you gave me a book or recommended this book to me. It was called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, because I was dealing with a lot of negative self-talk at the time. And just reading, I didn't read all of it because I'm such a skimmer, but I got the gist of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, just shifting the way that, when you're in your own head and the things that you say, because we spend the most time in conversation with ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So thanks for recommending that. I just wanted to say that it really did make a difference.
Yes. I'm happy. And I know when people do that, time's up, but
no, it's okay. We can keep going a little bit.
Glad to have that. I have another one. I didn't want to bring another book to you, but
yeah, do it. What's the book?
I actually don't even know the name of it. I think it's Living a Creative Life by Rick Rubin.
Okay.
The hip hop dude, like the producer guy. And it's just, I'm like on my second go around of it. I'm like, I never read something twice. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, y'all should check it out. Paul's great at book recommendations.
Yes, that's about the only talent is reading and keeping the good parts and ditching the bad parts.
Same in life in general. Love it. Well, thanks for being here. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Yeah.